Hi there and welcome to Transcorner Trailer Sales. Today we're walking you through your 2025 Forest River 42Dl. We are just going to start off at the back of the unit. If you notice up top, way up there, you do have your pre-mount of your living collapsible stair system. Essentially, it's a collapsible stair system that just attaches onto that mount and comes down, so it'll allow you to get up and check up on all your seals and everything periodically. If you'd like to get set up with that, you can contact our parts department and we can put together a quote for you. And then we are just going to come along the other side of the unit. If you notice in the back here, this is going to be the spot for your main 50 amp connection. You're just undoing that. You're just taking note of that silver strip here. It lines up with this silver strip on this side. Pushing that in place firmly, 8th turn to lock it in. And then you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. If you follow that cord back, you do have your standard 50 amp plug end. Now, a lot of campsites may not have 50 amp service, so we do include this 30 amp dog bone adapter. Just keep it in mind when you're going down to 30 amps of power, you're not going to be running 2 air conditioners at once. 30 amps of power doesn't only allow you to run 1 air conditioner at a time, so just be mindful of that. This unit is equipped with 2, but if you're only on 30 amps of power, you can only run 1. If you had the 50 amp service, you could run both at the same time. Once you're plugged in, you get those 2 lights on the top telling you that you have a good power source. And then from this 30 amps of power, we do also have a 50 amp park adapter that comes included with the unit. But with a unit this big, that 50 amp park adapter really is only going to be running your lights and your fridge, and that's about it. In this corner, as well as all 4 corners of the unit, you got stabilizer jacks. You just got your 3/4 inch drive nut right here. Run this foot down to the ground. Once the foot contacts the ground, just giving another 1/8 turn to snug it up, and it's going to take any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now away. Also, just being mindful that these are stabilizer jacks and not leveling jacks. So that is another thing to keep in mind. Also, whenever you're using impact, just being mindful of how much torque you put on them, because you do run the risk of bending them. Taking a few steps up, you got your first sewer outlet, which is going to be for your galley tank. You're just taking that knob off like all your other sewer outlets. You're just taking note of those ears there. Those are going to be the same ears your sewer hose has. And they just line up like so and lock into place. Like I said, this is for your galley tank. This one here is going to be for your black as well as your gray. You're always going to want to empty your black first. That's going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. And then you can come behind that with your gray and then your galley. Because it's typically cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. Furnace exhaust, whenever that's running, it is going to be blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. And then, of course, you got your fresh water inlet. So if you're out and your site doesn't have service, you can thread a garden hose in there, turn it on, and it's going to fill up that fresh tank. You could also siphon water in here using a jug in case you're in that off season when your site doesn't have the water on yet. Just keep it in mind, if it were to get below 0, you do run the risk of freezing. You got your city water connection, so if you're at a site with service, put a garden hose in there, turn it on, and it does pressurize all those lines without the needing to run your water pump. Right below the floor here, you got your 2 low point drains. So if you're leaving the unit for a while, don't want the water going stale or stagnant, just crack those guys open and it's just going to drain all the fluid inside the lines out. And then right down here, you got this valve opening up that guy. Does empty all the water out of the fresh tank. You got your hot water service port. Main thing you have to worry about is just that power button. We currently already have the unit summarized, so everything's already done. I'm just going to go over quickly winterization if you were to do it yourself. This isn't like your standard water heater. If there's bypass valves at the back, you don't touch it. You do run antifreeze through this system, of course with it off. And then once you're done, just cracking this pressure relief valve and leaving it cracked open throughout winter. And you're all done. The reason you leave that cracked open is because antifreeze can still gel up a little bit. So if it were to do that, just gives it a place to escape. Coming down here, you are pre-plumbed and pre-wired for a washer-dryer combo. If you'd like to get set up with that, again, you can contact the parts department. If you were ever using that washer at any time, you do always have to make sure that this is off, allowing water to escape. If this were to stay on, the water is going to backflow into the unit. So again, just be mindful of that. Right up from there, you got your black tank flush. So if you're noticing false monitor panel readings or just a general odor, just thread a garden hose in there. Of course, reading the caution label and making sure that you have both your black tank connected and the gate valve open, because you're pushing pressure into the tank. You want that pressure to have a place to go so it doesn't crack. Another stabilizer jack up front here. And then you got your exterior shower that just opens up with your standard 751 key. Hot and cold water. Now you do come to this compartment, opening this guy up. You're gonna notice this starter kit. That is where you get that 10-foot sewer hose. Comes with a standard 15-foot water hose, and then some other miscellaneous goodies, including a 15-amp park adapter. Whenever using the storage space, just be mindful that your VersaTilt bed strut is just right here, so you're not going to want to block that or dam it or hit it in any sorts, causing damage. And when you lift up the foot of the bed, that is where this opens up into. You got that 3/4 inch drive manual tool for your stabilizer jacks. Located around the front of the unit. You got your 27 RV battery just located right in the front there. And then of course you got your 2 propane tanks right up front. Typically, all you need to do is just loosen off these tabs and flip this guy open. And that gives you access to everything you need, but just for the purpose of the video, I'll pull it right off. So it does come off like that. You're noticing right at the front here, you got your selector valve. With it pointed this way, you're going to be drawing off this tank. If this tank were to go empty, you can close this, flip it over to the other side and draw off that tank. Turning it on is counterclockwise like any standard barbecue. Just going slow and making sure you do open it up all the way. Supplying propane to the unit. Now coming around the other side, you got your bedroom entryway, which is going to be where we're entering today. I'll just go through down the rest of the unit so that you can see everything. Coax outlet in case you're to put a TV outside here, as well as a couple plugins. You got your patio door entryway. Assist handle, which is pretty simple. Pushing it up fully at 90 degrees will lock in place, allow you to get in and out easily. Stairs, they just pull out and down. And that is it for this side of the unit. So now we're going to get to the best part, which is the inside. Take your stairs, pull them out, pull them towards you, hold the last step down. That will allow you to take a step on inside. So you got your bedroom space, but first off, I am just going to show you where you can operate all your slides. You do have to take a step into the main living space. And on the wall here where your little countertop is, you're gonna have your slide out switches. So before you're ever running any of those slide outs, always being mindful of what's on either side of the slide, inside and out. And then that'll allow you to operate those slide outs. It is just one button for all 3 slides. It's gonna push out the slide with the least resistance first. So typically it's gonna be the bedroom slide, and then you're gonna get your dinette slide, and then your kitchen slide will go last. And you're just going to hear those motors wind up whenever when all the slide outs are at their full extension. So you hear those motors winding up, so you're at that full extension. Now we will just go back into the bedroom, so we can finish off up inside here. So a light switch on the wall, the one on the inside turns on the inside light. The one on the outside will turn on a little porch light. Get your VersaTilt bed control, so you can either go up or down with that. Whenever you bring the slider out, it always is good to lift that VersaTilt bed up a little bit so it sucks the mattress in. You got your cable satellite outlets. You also have this black button, which does turn on this green light, which turns the antenna on the roof. It also improves radio frequency and cell phone frequency, so just be mindful of that. And then you got your thermostat control for your front air conditioner. So this is only controlling that front air conditioner, nothing else. The rest of the stuff is going to be based off of that front thermostat, or the rear thermostat, sorry. So this one works pretty simple. Just go over to cool. Whenever you're in the fan section, when you're in auto, it's an on-demand system, so it'll kick in and out as needed. You can either have that on high or low, or you can run the fan on high or low full time. But you do that and it does just fire up the air conditioner. Now, if you were to want to turn the cooling effect off, you just have to go to off, hit the button twice, and you can control the fan just to move air around, no cooling involved. Plug in right down below it. You got this nice little area for a TV if you'd like. All the blinds in the unit do work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them. And one quick pull will allow them to retract back up. Storage space down below. And then you do have your main fuse and breaker panels. Or breaker trips, they'll sit in the middle, so you do just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. And if you ever have a fuse blow, there'll be a little red indicator light letting you know which one's blown. So bed, if you lift up at the foot, it's gonna open up that storage space, which I told you about. Inside this closet space here, that is where you're pre-plumbed for a washer dryer, or you can use it as a closet space. Then over here, standard storage space, except for this guy here, this last guy. If you open it, there's a tab on either side, a black tab. If you pull them opposite ways of each other, it'll allow this drawer to slide out of place. And that is where you're going to get to your bypass hose for winterization for your water pump. All the accent lighting is on their own center push button. You can find accent lighting throughout. Now, taking a step into the main living space, I'm just going to take you right to here where you got your light switch. This is going to turn on that ceiling fan inside the living room. Then you got your thermostat, which does work the same way as the front one, minus the fact that this one's going to have the furnace on it. So to get it over to the furnace, you just have to push that mode button, take it over to heat. Now that's just going to automatically fire up the furnace. Whenever the furnace turns on, it does only have one fan speed, and whenever you turn it off, it does run for an additional 3 minutes just as an added safety procedure to allow itself to cool down. Over here, back where all your slide out buttons are, it's also where you're going to get that awning control as well as the main living space lights. And then you do have some accent lighting you can turn on, as well as an awning LED light. For the awning, always keeping an eye on wind speeds whenever you put it out. And then putting it out is just as simple as holding that button out. If you take a look out the window, you're going to see that awning coming out. You'll know that awning's fully extended when you see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hang down. And you got that flap hanging down, and then you see the back of that metal tube. Now, if it were to start raining, you can take any arm, front or rear, pull down at the center. You're probably going to need a step ladder to do so, as it's pretty high up. But if you pull down on the center, it would change the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to run off. And then you can also do the same thing with the front arm, and it's going to allow for more shade underneath, just making sure you do push those arms back to straight before you try and bring that awning in. That way you don't run the risk of bending anything. And bringing the awning in is as simple as pushing the in button, watching to make sure that it does roll in the right way. And once the arms contact the side of the trailer, it'll automatically come out. You got your monitor panel system right above it. So you got your fresh, your battery, your black one. It's going to say you have a black 2, but black 2 isn't hooked up to anything because there is no black 2 tank. You only have your black tank. And then you got your gray and your galley. And like I said before, gray is going to be for your bathroom shower, bathroom sink, and your galley will be hooked up to only your kitchen sink. So, taking a step into the bathroom, got your counter space, hot and cold water, main GFI plug right here on the wall. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, this would be the first place I'd check. You got test on the bottom, reset up top, standard shower. Then behind this is just some other storage space. On the wall, you get your thermostat for your hot water heater. On and off with the power button, you can change your set temperature by going up and down. And if we would have had to have this off before, it would have been locked to 50 degrees. As an added safety feature, it won't go above that unless you hold this button for 5 seconds, in which case it would unlock itself and allow you to go to 55. And then your output temp is just what it's currently inside the water heater. Celsius, Fahrenheit button, change between that. Then you got your vent control, because there is a vent inside here and it's way up there, so the controls are just down here. To get the lid to open or do anything, you do have to turn the fan on first, and then you can hold that open button. The vent's going to automatically open itself up. And then if it were to start raining, of course, you do have to bring that vent down. We do sell max air covers, so if you'd like to get set up with those, you can contact the parts department, but it does just allow you to run that whether it's raining or not. Up in the loft space is just bedroom space and storage space for kids or anything else. And then right at the bottom of the stairs, you got your central vac system. Power switch on the far left turns it on. You do have a little dustpanless system. Just be mindful of what you sweep in front of here. It is just mainly for gravel or dirt. If you're sucking up anything sharp into there, could puncture the bag. To get to the bag, you're just pulling on that like so, and it will allow you to pop that right out of place, and you can pull the bag out and replace it. Again, we also sell more of those here at the store, and you can contact the parts department to put together a quote for you. Stepping back into the main living space, you're going to see lots of travel straps throughout. Always making sure you latch everything down whenever you travel. That way it's not flying around damaging anything. You got two beautiful recliner chairs. All this stuff in here is operated on their own center switches. And then you got switches on the wall so you can decide which you want to use. Again, recliner chairs. This couch does also turn into a bed. You're just having to remove the cushions, set them off to the side. That would allow you to grab the foot of the couch, pull up and out. This will flip over down the legs, plop it down, flip the back of the couch down, make yourself a bed. Perfect for if you do have a couple extra guests. Again, all the blinds and units work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them. Then you come to your entertainment center. Nice little cool feature. Door handle, open it up. You do got a storage space. Inside this box is just the TV legs in case you were to want to take it off its mount and put it back on its legs. You also got a real garbage disposal that they include. The hookups and everything are right there at the back too for the TV. And then you got your TV, which again has a travel strap. And then right below this nice little mantle is your main stereo. It's pretty much just like home, minus the fact of you got all your speakers. So A speakers are going to be inside and B speakers are going to be out. Sorry, that's wrong. A speakers are the rear set of speakers. B speakers are the bedroom set of speakers. C speakers are your two outside speakers on the wall. Right down below, you got your fireplace. Far right is the power button. One to the left of that changes your flame color. The button in the middle does your rock light colors. And then two in from the left, you got your heat mode. So pushing it once will put it into just fan. Pushing it twice gets you into low heat. 3 times will get you into high heat. And then you do have a timer that goes anywhere from 30 minutes to about 9 hours. Now we're getting into this lovely kitchen space. First thing I'm going to note, kitchen sink. You got a cup washer. As soon as you put a cup on there and push down, it's automatically working. So just be mindful that if you don't have a cup on here and you press on it, it is going to shoot water and it'll probably go right to the roof. So just being careful with that. You got this little knob here with the little power symbol on it. It's just to operate your drain. So if you turn it, it locks the drain so that no water can escape, and having it like that unlocks it. And then you got your brass temperature control knob. So the temperature is based off of what it's labeled. Turning it to the right, you're going to use this head, and then you have a couple different options for that as well, wand or sprayer. And then if you turn it the opposite way, you're going to go to the vegetable washer, so it's going to put all its water out of this sprayer here. And then to further that, this kitchen sink does come with a bunch of different extra trays you can slide into place for vegetables and stuff. that's going to be a personal preference thing. We just keep them down here so you can decide once you get your unit. There's also some more manuals over there. And now we're into the kitchen area, cooking area. You got your stove, which does run off propane, so I always recommend running that range hood whenever you're running your stove. And because that operates off propane, you're always going to be mindful. You got your LP detector right here near the ground. Both the furnace and the stove run off propane, so you get this LP detector in here. If this ever starts going off, don't panic. Just turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit and open up some windows and vents just to get some fresh oxygen inside of here. It's also very sensitive to cleaning chemicals, so if you're ever cleaning around it, use your best judgment, but it could have been that chemical that you sprayed that set it off. Got your convection oven right up top, pretty much just like home, not much I'm going to show you there. When it comes to lighting this, if you've ever had the propane system off, it allows air into the system. So whenever I first get to my campsite, if I've known my propane has been off, I like to fire up my stove first thing because it's the easiest thing to purge all the air out of the lines, because it's not going to throw any fault codes. It's just going to try and keep lighting. So you're just going to push that knob in, hit it over to the high option, and it does fire right on up. Of course, I had the propane system running earlier. Sometimes it can take a few seconds to get all the air out of the lines. So just be mindful of that. But eventually it will light up. You just have to be patient. Then to get the stove to light, it's the same sort of deal. What you're going to want to do is flip this guy down. You'll see in here you got all these holes. That is going to be how you see your pilot. So your middle knob is for your oven. So you're pushing that in, turning it over to the pilot option, holding it in. And then eventually you would see that pilot light come on. Like I said, sometimes it can take a few minutes, so just be patient with it. Once the pilot's able to hold its own, you can turn it up to its desired temperature and it does fire right on up. So now you do come to your residential style fridge, opening it up. All your controls are right up top here. Taking note of these travel straps, which will be latched before time of delivery. Down below, we're going to open this up. You're going to notice you do have an ice maker. Now, I left the ice maker disabled. The valve for that is just right here. So if you pull that valve towards you, it's going to then start injecting fluid into the ice maker. It's very important that you do winterize this every year as well. So again, just keeping that in mind that is there, and you do have to winterize it even if you don't use it. I don't have it in use right now because a lot of people don't have drinkable water at site, but it would just be as simple as pulling that valve towards you and it would turn it on. That is going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.